Hi friends, it's Amanda and welcome to my first Shimmerz Paints education team video. Being inspired today by this Paige Evans cut file which I've backed with her coordinating pick-me-up papers, and more so inspired by that gorgeous ombre tone. I just couldn't resist it. Isn't it pretty? So gorgeous, and it got me thinking about, with Shimmerz paints, how lovely it is to have the contrast colours but also the monochromatic magic that we can make when we stick with light colours. So for today's layout, I'm going for monochromatic magic. So I've outlined where my cut file will sit just in pencil, and I'm coming in with the packaging technique here and our gorgeous Vibez Razzeldazzel berry colour, and literally just smooshing that colour straight in. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that rich berry tone. It's so pretty, and really hoping to mimic sort of that ombre effect to begin with. In that cut file. So this is Vibez Sweetheart, and it's more of a pretty princess kind of pink, I think. You'll see I sprayed it straight to where the Razzeldazzel was before as well, because I'm happy for the berry and the pink to blend together. I want this to be quite soft, so I don't want you to see stark contrast where it changes from dark to light. It should be a gentle mix, and I've come over again just so I can have a bit more depth of colour. There we go, with more Sweetheart. And then of course I want to lighten this off. So I'm coming in now with Vibez Pop Art Pink, and you'll see just there's that tiny little hint of gold in this particular Vibez, and it's such a pretty colour. You actually see that gold shimmer when it's actually dry, and it's so gorgeous. So just having more of a little bit of a peachy pink to finish with. So pretty. Look at that. So just smushing my colours in together for this gorgeous result. So you'll see I've backed my cardstock now with that gorgeous pink Paisley Paige Evans pick-me-up paper, which of course has those monochromatic tones in it and lots of florals and butterflies, which is going to be a feature of my page. I'm now coming in with our beautiful Shimmerz. This is going peach side. You'll notice at the start I was stirring that pot quite a lot. It's really important with the Shimmerz particularly that you give them a really good stir, because the gorgeous shimmering sediment does tend to stick in the bottom of the jars. Occasionally it's in the lid, but quite often in the base, so really important to give them a good stir. This is Pink-O-De-Mayo, and it's such a perfect match to Sweetheart. As you'll see in a moment, it's quite difficult to see the difference in the contrast because the colours are so like. However, there is a difference because as it dries, this becomes quite crystalline and very shimmery. Very, very pretty colour. And then the last colour is our Shimmerz in Magenta. And oh my heart, this is just divine. Now the shimmer was actually caught in the lid here, so making sure you always check. Giving it a really good stir and coming in, and oh, this colour just wins me over so much. So much so that I actually decide that it's now going to be the highlight and make everything pop along that rose edge. So starting to really bring some definition to where that rose cut file is going to sit. And a few little dots of colour as well. Very, very pretty. And because I need to know where to put my next lot of colour, bringing over my sort of semi-plan of where my photo is going to sit. And thinking about that. Where's it going? Let's outline, again with pencil, so that I'm not wasting my paints by filling a random area. It's really important that I stick to where I, and this helps to avoid using gesso as well, because you're not over-painting and over-saturating your paper. The magenta, as I said, won me over, so outlining with that first, kind of a vague sort of rose shape, smaller. I don't know, it was just the shape the brush took. I tend to be a bit that way, whichever way the brush takes me. More going peach side to add in those highlights. Very, very pretty. And a few little dots of colour too. So much pretty. Isn't monochromatic just gorgeous? It's something that sort of gets away from us. We get caught up in having all the bright blues with the pinks, with the yellows and the greens, and that vibrancy of pop colour, but choosing similar tones is just, it's so pretty. It's a really gentle approach to adding colour to a page, and in particular with pinks and berry colours, it's just gorgeous, isn't it? Coming in with a little bit more of that Pink-O-De-Mayo as well. Really lovely. And now that my layout's dry, I'm just holding it up so you can have a look. There we go. Look at that shimmer. So you do see the variance in the Pink-O-De-Mayo from the Sweetheart. It's just harder to see flat in front of the camera, but it is really stunning. On goes the cut file, and pressing it down, and I realise, yeah, right there's a bit of a gap, and it's really, yeah, right there. It's really bothering me. So, of course, coming back in with some touch-up paintwork. So, Pink-O-De-Mayo again. And while I've got some on my brush, I may as well just dab it in a few extra areas for some highlights. Because, of course, as you saw, as it dries, it really does have that really high shimmer. And a little more of the magenta, just for that gorgeous tonal work. Very, very pretty. And I've prepared my photo layers, so you'll see I've got some tissue wrap, a doily, and just some offcuts from the Pick Me Up collection that I've used to back beneath my photo. Not too much because it's a dark photo and I already feel that it's grabbing enough attention, and I really want the focus on my subject and not the surround. So yeah, my beautiful ballerina, and she's of course playing a flower fairy, so needless to say the butterflies and roses theme in this layout today really work to tell her story in the ballet as well. And I'm looking at my layout, and as much as I love that white cut file and I'd plan to keep it, I've had this brilliant idea that I am going to paint it. So on I go with the Shimmerz, going peach side first, and I'm going to fill in. And look, there's nothing wrong with doing it this way. It just means you've got to be a little more careful. So if you were to recreate a layout inspired by this one or similar, I would paint your cut file before you even pull it off your mat. It would make it so much easier. You could be quick and messy, and it would take you about a minute. But I have to be a lot more careful with my finer brushes. Because of the nature of this paint, it's, you can really pull back on how wet it is. So a small amount of paint on my brush means that it won't run everywhere. And that's fine for what I'm doing right here. But again, if you wanted to be quick and time savvy, paint it on your cut file mat. I'm a bit of an organic artist. Things change and grow with me as I create. So sometimes I do things out of sequence than perhaps I should. Pink-O-De-Mayo, highlighting. Round we go. It's really pretty, isn't it? And even as I'm painting, I'm so much, I really like the white cut file, but I am loving it a lot more with that Shimmerz touch to it. And of course, our last colour is that beautiful magenta. And I actually pull, you can see, I pull back on how much paint I put on my brush. I've got a fine tip brush, and I'm really not making it too thick, the paint there, because I still want that ombre tonal paper beneath to be darker and have a bit more, so we've got lots of varying tones throughout the whole rose, so it's really quite elegant and pretty, and just lots of colour, lots of pretty pinks and berries, and a little bit of peachy pink as well. Gorgeous. And I thought I was finished, and then I looked at it again and I decided that I'd really like to add more of that magenta because I loved it so much. So I'm actually going to paint inside just a few of those outer petals just to highlight with a little bit of that shimmer and gloss when it dries, of course. So we're going to have that beautiful shimmer on the edge as well. And just in those darker sections. It's not a lot, it's just a little to really make it complete. There we go. I'm happy now. Very, very pretty. So finishing off my layout now, I've fussy cut all these beautiful moths and butterflies from one of the papers. I think it's paper 14, but it's the one that's got all the moths and butterflies on it. It's very, very pretty. So just thinking about where I'm going to pop them around, trying to make it look like they sort of flow from my daughter's arm. Almost like she's sort of holding out for those beautiful butterflies to take flight. Part of a gorgeous, graceful ballet. Very, very pretty. So I play around with these for a little while, and I add 3 of the moths to the cut file. Of course, I don't want to take away from that beautiful paintwork that we've done, but it's important to always have a little bit of texture and dimension. So I've just picked 3 of the smaller moths, and I'm just popping their wings up and just adding that little extra, you know, that just gives that little something more. So some interest for the eye. On we go. And as I said, making sure these wings are up because it really does add that sense of texture and dimension. Now, if you're watching at home thinking, I just cannot live without those paints, don't worry, I'm going to pop a link in below for you to direct to the Shimmerz Paints store. And of course, I've listed all the products as well. And type Amanda in the comments section of your order, and you'll also receive a bonus free paint. So that's a little way to say thank you for watching my videos, and to help build up your supply of paints as well. The only condition is you can't use it with any other discount or promotion codes, but Amanda will earn you a free paint if you type it in the comments section. So you'll see I'm just fiddling with those wings a little bit. I like the added dimension of the wings being up. I think that really adds that little point of interest. And then of course coming in with some thickers and some stickers to embellish the rest of my page and story. There's a little sentiment on that really applies for my daughter and her wonderful experience as a dancer and life in general. And I like these parts. The sentiment stickers always get me. They're always very well thought. They're not just those colours match, let's use them. It is a case of making sure the meaning is behind it, because I am quite well known for hiding my journaling. It is actually a letter usually on the back of my layouts for my children, but a few little messages on the front that have meaning to them that perhaps you won't always know about, I think is a bit special. So sometimes I kind of think of them as the hidden clues in the layouts. And I just love this gold foil thicker heart. I just thought it was so pretty, and it would look just divine as if it was extended from her arm, like she was sort of gracefully letting go of it into the trail of butterflies that she'd released. So yeah, that was a bit of an idea I have that grows on me. Snipping some stickers to make them work as well. Lovely day. It was a lovely day. She was beautiful to watch on the stage. There we go. And humming and hawing about the white space at the top of the page now, because white space is fabulous. I'm a big fan of it, but with so much colour and this strong colour scheme, I really felt it was missing something. So I used this gorgeous sticker here to anchor the design, and I think it's just the perfect blend. Like, it's not quite white, it's an off-white cream kind of base. It's got the gold foil heart. I like that we've sort of drawn on now with the title and the sticker, the heart sticker, and of course that colour scheme that we're working with. So it just helps to anchor my design. And I removed that Marvelous die cut. I really wasn't a fan. I've decided to go for the inspirational sticker instead because I think it tells her story more. So yeah, and then thinking about, you know, there's a little bit of gold, but I don't know if you really see it, and I want there to be that little highlight. So I decided to come in with some Elle Studio puffy stickers that I have in my stash. Here they are. Look at them. Aren't they lovely? They've got some gorgeous products, let me tell you. And coming in with those gold puffies now. And I sort of, initially I think I'll just sort of put them around sporadically. And then I go back to my original idea of her letting go of the, almost like she's letting go of her heart and setting it free with that trail of butterflies. And then I decide, why not make a trail of butterflies and hearts? So off I go. And that becomes my layout. So I'll have some close-ups coming for you in a moment. I hope you've really enjoyed my monochromatic magic process today, and that I've inspired you to give, using similar or like colours, a bit of a workout on your memory keeping pages as well. Isn't that beautiful? Look at all that gloss, that shine and shimmer. So pretty. And if you have any questions or comments about today's process or the paints, pop them below and I'll get back to you. Lots of gorgeous close-ups coming for you now. Thanks so much for watching, and happy arty days. Bye.